Hey everybody, welcome back. Kyle Bazzi here again for the Benzinga Fintech Awards. Up next we have Quantcha and CEO and founder Ed Kaim. Ed, what's going on, man?
Hey Kyle, thanks for having me.
Glad you're here. All right, so we just got done talking a little bit off air about what Quantcha does in the background. Really like the direction you guys are going. Another young and up and coming company. Ed, give us a background on Quantcha.
Sure. So I'm actually from the startup tech space, and Quantcha is my first fintech effort. I started trading options about 3, 4 years ago or so, and I found that there were certain kinds of things that I wanted to be able to do that I could do in other parts of software that weren't really there for option trading. And so I sat down and started kind of hacking some ideas out, and then we're able to attract a couple other people from one of my other teams and kind of build out something that I think is really solid for option investors. And our goal really is to be a great tool for option investors of all levels of experience, especially in the retail space, which is why we're free. We don't show ads. We don't require registration to use the product. And we're really investing in doing one thing really, really well.
All right, let's dive into that a little bit more because I love learning about where the problem came about. What
Sure.
types of things weren't you able to do when you started investigating options?
Well, so I'm not a professional investor. I don't have the kind of background that a lot of people do. And for me, I would usually follow one particular stock, and I'd have strong feelings about where it was going. I love Microsoft, for example. I mean, we're up here in the Pacific Northwest. We're in Redmond, where Microsoft is. I have companies that do business with Microsoft, and so I love the company and I follow them closely. And I would have a view as to where they're going. I'd say I think that in the next 6 months they're going to go up 10%. And that's fine to have, but the question is now, how do you trade it? If you're just going long stock, that's easy. But if you're trading with options, it gets really sophisticated quickly because now there's tons of different permutations of ways you can buy and sell calls and puts to really optimize that view and to come back with the best trade you have. And I wanted the ability to take an experience like you'd see, for example, with Kayak for travel, and to apply that to picking and choosing the right option trades. And another thing about option trading is that you can also be very successful if the stock's staying neutral, if you expect it to go down, if you expect it to go up a lot, and all those permutations are based on kind of a view and a range where you expect the stock to be. And I wanted software that did all the legwork for me so I could just have the view and then know what to trade.
All right, I'm very interested in that concept and learning more about it. How many
Sure.
employees? We know you guys are in Redmond. Are you guys funded? When did you guys start? Give us a little background on that information too.
Sure. So we started middle last year, middle 2014. We launched in September. We were ready a bit earlier. I mean, we got shot out of a cannon, really. It was kind of knew exactly where to go with this, but we didn't want to launch over the summer. And it's myself, and I have a few other people who are contributing to the project as well. The team is about 4 right now, and we are. I'm the investor at this point. We haven't taken on outside money. We can get pretty far without it, and so far, we've had some good success in building the right product for users, and probably monetization is one of those things that you think about. And for us, we are free. We don't show ads. We don't have registration required. What we do really is we try to work with back-end data where we can provide some streams based on our growing expertise in options and derivatives, and also try to find ways to help brokerages better meet the needs of their customers, so that if they're using our tools to place trades in their brokerage, we try to work with them on figuring out the right way for us to potentially get a connection fee or something, so that the user doesn't have to pay for it. At the end of the day, everybody wins.
Man, I love seeing new, fresh faces and ones with good startup experience
I'm a
coming
little
in
bit too old to be fresh, but I'm doing my best.
to the fintech space. But it's great to see people like you emerging into the financial technology realm of this world. So let's dive a little bit deeper. So you said Kayak experience for implementation of the actual trade, specifically towards options. So walk us through
Yeah.
what a user would expect coming to the site.
Well, I use Kayak as an example because they came out as a travel site in an industry people thought was pretty saturated with travel sites already. And their innovation was they said, we're going to build something that is very modern. It works the way modern software can do it because we're not dealing with legacy concepts and we're not necessarily dealing with legacy code base and other things. And coming into the options space, especially for retail investors, there isn't saturation. There's a lot of room for improvement. It's a hugely growing market. The retail investors, especially, I think, will be coming on very strong over the next few years. And so we kind of sat down and I hadn't even really seen a lot of the tools that I've come to find since then. But in general, I didn't feel that there was a well-served market for very modern software. So just as a minor example for our approach, the mentality is taking the software we've built in other industries and building that kind of software for financial tech. And so we build browser-based apps. We don't build apps for devices. I think that that's kind of a limited future, like an iOS-specific and an Android-specific device. We build devices that are browser-based, and they adaptively render down. We use the industry standard tools that are out there to make sure that when you're using our site on your desktop, you get a great experience, and then you pick up your phone and use it, and you get a great experience. And it's the same software, it's the same functionality, and there's really no reason to make you go do an extra download or make you jump through hoops to use it or install plugins or anything like that. I mean, this is the way software is going to be. In 10 years, it's going to be silly that you would get a specific app for, your iPhone. Just like people don't really install new apps for Windows anymore. I mean, there is custom software that you need to have as a client app, but fintech software largely doesn't need to be.
All right, so let's dive a little bit deeper into the actual core of the product. So let's give the Microsoft example again.
Sure.
What would your software or your web-based software be able to do for someone like me? I think Microsoft's going up. They just bought Minecraft. I love the acquisition. Yep. I think they're going up by 10 points by the end of the year. What would I get? What value would I get from Quantcha?
Sure. So, you figure maybe 10 points by the end of the year. So you're looking at December, them trading about, let's say, 55 to 60. Is that what you're thinking? So right now, how would you trade that?
I mean, I'd buy it.
You just buy the stock, yeah, which is a good strategy. But if you're an option investor, there's a bunch of different ways you can go about it. Some people might say, that they want to be conservative, and maybe they want to buy the stock, but they might also be interested in selling some calls against it, because then you get a little bit of a discount now, especially if you think they're going to go up but they won't clear 60. So maybe you want to sell the calls at 60, or maybe you just want to go and sell a bunch of puts that are secured at 60 or 50 or something like that, so you can make money in a conservative way and still have some protection if it doesn't quite go up that high. Maybe you want to trade it with spreads, or maybe you want to trade be aggressive and say that you have a range-bound strategy with something like a condor or a broken wing or any kind of butterfly derivative. And I'm going through a lot of these, but the point is, if you go to Quantcha and you say, I want to trade Microsoft, I want to trade it for December, and I think they're going to be 55 to 60, Quantcha figures all that out for you. You don't have to know the difference between the upsides to a broken wing butterfly on a call side versus a put side. You don't have to worry about where the strikes are going to land, because we're checking all the various strikes and figuring out how that trade should be shaped for you. And then you can filter it and say, for this range of 55 to 60, don't show me trades where I don't at least break even. Or show me trades where I have at least a 75% upside potential if it hits it just right within my forecast. And then once you find a trade you're interested in, you can click through, and we have a second level of deep trade analysis that goes through and applies a lot of the market fundamentals, but also some fairly sophisticated analysis to determine where the market expects the stock to go based on how the options are priced right now. Using things like implied volatility, you can map out what's known as an implied distribution that says, for example, there might be a 25% chance that the stock will close in the forecast you're looking at based on how people are currently buying and selling the options for the stock. And we don't just give you that information raw. We give it to you in charts. We show you overlays of your forecast over the market distribution. We map out the curve for you. And then when you're on that trade analysis screen, if you want to tweak your forecast, we give you immediate updates and showing you exactly how the trade would model differently. And in addition to showing you how your trade performs against your forecast, we actually expanded out to 3 standard deviations, or a 6 sigma spread that covers about a 99.9% scenario that says this is what's almost surely going to happen with the stock and how this trade would perform with all the probabilities applied to it, saying, the net is, if you're confident in this trade, be aware that it only has a 40% likelihood of profit based on where things stand right now. But if you're a retail investor, you don't have to worry about the math that went into that. You don't have to understand the details. It's just one more thing to help you from blowing yourself up.
Boy, do we need more of those.
We're trying our best.
So this is essentially kind of taking away me calling my professional trader friends and asking them, hey, how the hell do I do this options play for the stock? That's fantastic. So it's after the fact that you have the idea. Once you have the idea, here's the implementation.
Yes, exactly. We want to help you make the optimal trade. I mean, when you look at a lot of the tools that exist today, they ask you, one of the first steps is they say, do you want to look at a spread scan, or do you want to look at a scan of the market for butterflies, or scan for covered calls? Which, going back to the kayak analogy, I mean, that would be like if you went to kayak and the first question was, all right, what kind of plane do you think you should be on? I mean, it's ridiculous. I'm telling you where I want to go, or where I think the stock is going, and you tell me how to get there.
All right, cool. This is fantastic. Do you guys have any metrics? I know it's very, very early, but any type of traction that you've seen, people using it, staying on, and maybe X amount of searches per day or something, any kind of main metrics you can share with us?
There's really not much in the way of metrics that would make sense. What we kind of focus on is not so much the volume of the numbers, but we use things like the user loyalty to understand when people come and find our site for the first time, like how long does it take them to come back? And for a period about of last 2 months or so, we found that most of the new users that visit the site, about 80% of them will come back within 24 hours to visit the site again, which is kind of a promising thing for us. We're hoping that this trend continues and we can build up the audience more effectively. And we also have a lot of tools for things like syndication and sharing, which, because we're a free product, it's very easy for us to give away tons of what we do so that people can embed posts on their own blogs, they can share images or trade ideas on Facebook and Twitter and StockTwits and really a whole wealth of social media sites, and they get a rich preview of what the trade looks like or what the trades are for that given forecast. And we're really all about being modern and social and trying to reach people with the software they expect to have been built in the last few years.
All right, we need more up-and-comers like you, man, especially in this space. So give us a 30-second
words. Thank you.
Give us the 30-second elevator pitch. We always wrap up with why you guys think that you deserve to win the Benzinga Fintech Awards.
Well, I've watched a lot of these videos, and there's a ton of companies that I think deserve to win these awards. I mean, there's so much innovation out there, and we're out there. We're trying to do one thing and do it really well. If you are an investor who trades with stock options, you have no reason not to check out what we're doing. We're free. We don't require any registration. We don't show you ads. We will help you take any view that you have, any good idea that you have about a stock, and turn it into a great idea about a trade. And you can do that. There's no strings attached.
All right, Ed, founder of Quantcha. Thanks, Ed, for joining.
Thanks so much, Kyle.
You can go learn more about Quantcha on Benzinga Fintech Awards. Go also check out the other 115 companies that have applied to show us their innovation of how they're helping you create wealth through the markets. Again, this is Kyle Bazzi here at Benzinga. We'll see you next time.